Welcome back, Sports Nation and my champions. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at tight end targets. Who can play with the elite? And much like my last video, the QB1 targets, I'm not going to worry about the top 12. I want to find some guys who can actually challenge these top 3 elite guys, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, and George Kittle. And I think I found a couple, one primarily in PPR scoring and another in the standard format. So let's get right to it. We're going to start on the PPR side, and the player I want to focus on is Logan Thomas from Washington. Now, he ended up as tight end 4 last year, and really, he really kind of found his niche, found his home, I believe. He had a big jump up. He had 105 targets, 72 receptions, 670 yards, and 6 touchdowns last year. He bounced around the league from Buffalo and New England. A huge target, I would say a huge target in more ways than one, is size-wise, but also kind of a security blanket type of guy. He did kind of go through a bit of a quarterback carousel last year with Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Taylor Hanke, and to put up those types of numbers despite the moving around of the quarterback situation last year is pretty impressive. Now enter Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to be the clear QB1 with Hanke backing him up. And one of the things I took a look at was how Fitzpatrick utilized the tight end last year when he was with the Dolphins. And I looked at Mike Gesicki's numbers. He had 85 targets, 53 total receptions, 703 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Now, Fitzpatrick didn't play in all those games, but I looked at the data from the games he did play in, and it trended just the same way. So I'm not seeing an issue as far as Ryan Fitzpatrick coming in. I know he does like to throw the bomb sometimes. They do have Terry McLaurin there, as wide receiver, and he was number 1 in targets with Washington. Logan was 3 behind J.D. McKissick, running back, but Fitzpatrick tends to not favor the running backs as much either, so I think that helps with Logan Thomas as well. The only thing I really have a question with him is they did go out and get Curtis Samuel from the Panthers in free agency this offseason, and I honestly would be more concerned if this was in standard formats, because I think Samuel is going to take away some of the touchdowns. Of course, he's going to get receptions, but I don't think Logan Thomas is really going to be hurt that much by this. So as far as the ceiling, I think he could break the top 3 on a high end. I think the floor would be tight end 10. Right now his ADP is 76.8. That puts him as 7th as far as tight ends being selected in live drafts and ESPN. I think that's a pretty good value, especially if you miss out on the big 3. Especially in PPR leagues. I think this guy is probably slightly undervalued. Probably finish anywhere from 3 to 5 this year in PPR formats. And the guy I want to talk about primarily in standard formats, I'm really excited about, is TJ Hawkinson from the Detroit Lions. Now, this guy ended up as tight end 5 last year, and he really took a big step from his rookie season. He basically doubled all of his stats. He went from 51 targets to 101, 32 receptions to 67, 367 yards to 723, and 2 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns. Very good talent. He came out, he was selected in the first round. Another thing that benefits him is the receiving turnover. If you haven't noticed or you don't know, Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay are both gone. They went to Jacksonville and the Giants respectively, and they picked up free agents Tyrell Williams, who's a guy who's coming from the Raiders, who did not play at all in 2020 due to a torn labrum in his shoulder, and Brashard Perryman, this will be his 5th team in 6 seasons, and he's never even cracked 700 yards receiving. So I still think Hawkinson's going to be the primary focal point. Another reason I believe that is because they got a new quarterback, and you've seen my video. If you haven't, I would go take a look at. I analyzed the trade between Stafford and Goff with the 2 teams. What excites me about Hawkinson in this situation is that Goff heavily relied on his tight ends. Now, didn't really seem that way because the Rams basically had a two-headed monster at tight end, and they had Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett, who ironically each got 59 targets, 41 receptions. But if you were to combine their stats, as TJ Hawkinson is the clear number one tight end on the Lions. I'm not worried about Darren Fells at all. If you were to combine their stats last year, that total of 118 targets, 81 receptions, 938 yards, and 6 touchdowns, which would put him at tight end 3 if you use last year's stats, if you were to do that. Like I said, I'm very excited about this guy. I think he could be the next big thing as far as elite tight ends. And the name of the game in fantasy football is not necessarily going after the Travis Kelce's and the Darren Wallers that are already established. It's getting those guys, staying ahead of the curve, being able to get this guy later on and still have as much value. So I'm putting his ceiling as a tight end 1. I think he could very well finish as the best tight end this year in fantasy football, especially in standard leagues. I think he's still good in PPR, but I think even more so in standard leagues. I would put his floor at tight end 7, based on the reasons I gave above here. Now his ADP is at 61.5. That's at the end of the 5th round, beginning of the 6th round. He's being selected as the tight end number 5 coming off the board. I think this is extreme value. I think, given what I've said, I think you should pick this guy up. If you are drafting late in the 5th round or early in the 6th round, give TJ Hawkinson a close look. If you did enjoy this video, why not give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments, put them in the section below. I read every single comment and I respond to just about every single comment as well. If you want to catch up to our 31 and 31 series this month, I'll put the links right on the screen that you can click right now. Thanks for watching and supporting this channel, and as always, go Raiders.